I'm saying hello today on a beautiful October 11th, 2011. And I'm here in Western Ontario, actually in the lovely country town of Blyth. And Blyth is very, very well known actually for the Blyth Festival. I'm here with Eric Coates, who is the artistic director for the festival. And he's already given me a little tour of the facilities, and I'm going to show those to you later. But it's great to meet you, Eric.
Likewise.
Thank you. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Blyth Festival. What about its history? Whose idea was it? How has the festival evolved?
All right, you want this in under 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, very brief,
it's a
very
long
brief.
Story.
Yes.
Paul Thompson, who was the artistic director of Theatre Passe-Muraille in Toronto in the early 70s, brought a group of young actors out here to do a play about the local farmers. And they interviewed local farmers and worked with them, and then improvised a series of vignettes that they put together called The Farm Show, which was just a reflection of the life in this region. A few years later, I should add that the Farm Show was magnificently successful, one of the biggest events in Canadian theatre history. A few years later, James Roy, a young director from Toronto, saw that the area was ripe for creating theatre, and he founded the Blyth Festival. And since 1975, we have done nothing but Canadian plays, and the vast majority of them original Canadian work.
Wonderful, that's excellent. Now you actually have a full-time staff here, right? Is it a year-round production here, or do you focus on summer only?
We produce generally in the summertime. We'll bring in special events in the off-season, partner with various groups. But our full-time year-round staff is a skeleton crew of us doing administrative work, raising money, promoting the season. In the summertime, we suddenly explode with a company of actors. We run in repertory, so we actually rehearse and produce 4 plays, all running at the same time, unlike a traditional summer stock where you're just doing a play for 2 weeks and then closing it.
Oh really? So they're running the whole summer, so you can actually, if you can't catch it in July, you can still catch it in August.
Yeah. There's some variations on that, but generally you can come to Blyth and see at least 2 plays in any visit.
Great.
And the company literally balloons overnight. We'll have, we go from a staff of 5 or 6 of us to 60 people literally overnight.
And your actors, where are they from?
They're from everywhere in the country. I primarily hire from Toronto, just because that's the largest center with a lot of actors, professional actors nearby who really know what we do and really love what we do. It's not unusual for me to reach farther afield, though. And in fact, last summer when I really needed a strong francophone actor, I went to Montreal and found one. And the cross-pollination was fantastic, because it was an actor who was a really staunch Quebec sovereigntist. He had never been to Ontario in his life.
Oh my God!
And we ended up, we had the most wonderful time. And
that must have been some amazing cross-fertilization going on.
It really was. And Sébastien left here with a whole new appreciation of what it is, not only to immerse himself in Ontario culture, but to see what it's like to bring Quebecois culture to conservative Ontario. That's
wonderful. You've got some cross-cultural initiatives going on here. That is excellent. I really appreciate it. Now, this year you had a season of 4 plays. Can you briefly summarize what those 4 plays were all about?
Well, the one I just spoke about was Vimy, which is a retelling of the Battle of Vimy Ridge, which was fantastic because our theatre is actually inside a war memorial hall, so that was great. Another one that we did was really wonderful, was called Hometown, and it was a play that was written in segments. We hired 6 playwrights from across Canada, each to write a short piece about their hometown. So we started in Newfoundland, we went right out to BC, and these plays, the only common theme was it was about people talking about what the word hometown meant to them. So for the Newfoundland writer, it was very specifically about the town itself. For the Quebec writer, it was about language. And that play was actually in French and English and translated. But but again, entire sections were in French. The BC writer, hometown was about her childhood and memory. So they were really, really interesting, thoughtful pieces. We did a new comedy called Early August, which was about life backstage in a little summer theater company. It was kind of a madcap romp.
Was this a little autobiographical for somebody?
Very much so.
Oh, okay,
Very much
okay.
so. And we did a play called Rope's End, which was about people falling in love the second time around, sort of later in life.
Oh, nice.
A nice.
Oh, really nice, broad range of topics, actually. Some more serious, some lighter.
Yeah, we try to really focus on plays with substance. Even the work that is unapologetically comic and with the commercial appeal, we still try to make sure that there is something you can sink your teeth into.
Right.
We are not about fluff.
That's wonderful. What's coming up for the next season? How soon in advance do you actually decide what's coming up for 2012?
Well, it's funny you should ask, because in 2 days from now I actually go to my board of directors to approve the season. So I will give you.
Oh, we're not going to talk about. Oh,
no,
you are.
I'll talk about it. I'm going to damn the torpedoes. I'm assuming that they're going to say yes to all this.
Good.
We are doing a new musical based on the work of Fred Eaglesmith, who's a hugely popular folk singer in Ontario, but with a kind of cult following all over the United States. This is a play about a guy who's losing the farm, literally. It's a play about working men and working women and their relationships with each other and with their tractors and with their dogs, and it's a real blue-collar musical. And again, that's based on the music of Fred Eaglesmith. We are going to be doing a new play. Oh, no, I've just lost my train of thought. The second play in our season is not a new play. It's the 10th anniversary of a comedy called Having Hope at Home by David Craig, which again has a francophone character in it, and actually the final lines of the play are in French. And it's about a young woman who wants to have her baby at home with a midwife in the middle of a blizzard out in her farmhouse, and her father, who's an obstetrician, thinks this is a terrible idea, and he shows up. So it's one of those wars of generation and ideals. There's a new play about Al Capone visiting Southern Ontario in the midst of Prohibition. He comes here to find out what's happened to a load of his whiskey that's gone missing.
Now, is there any real connection to real history? Was he ever here?
Absolutely. He
was.
Well, yeah, because all of his whiskey was being
Canadian,
shipped,
right?
Yeah, from Ontario, and smuggled into the States. So there are a lot of local stories of Al Capone showing up in this region, not necessarily right in Blyth, but closer to Windsor. And this is a play about
Hiram Walker Distillery.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a play about a family that's given up farming, and they're trying to make a living doing other things, and one of the things they've done is they're helping the Chicago and Detroit gangsters bootleg.
Yeah.
So it's got a lot of just got a lot of meat.
Oh, I can imagine.
And then finally we're doing a new play by a Calgary couple, playwrights named Clem Martini and Cheryl Fago, and it's about it's inspired by Cheryl's life, her family growing up in Saskatchewan as the only African Canadian family at the edge of a fairly large city, and really about what life was like in that community.
Wow. What time frame? What era?
This is 1940s.
Oh, so
and it's about two daughters, a pair of twins who are alone in the house when an unexpected visitor shows up. It's a transient, very violent white man shows up, convinced that there's a treasure in this house, and he sort of terrorizes these girls to try and find this treasure. And it's really, it's a thriller, definitely a thriller, but it's also about disenfranchisement and how ultimately this very, very desperate white guy identifies with with two young black girls who feel disenfranchised within their community too. So, interesting play.
What interesting content you've got coming up for next year. Now, if people want to find you online, there must be a website where they can find you.
They can find us, blythfestival.com, and Blyth is B-L-Y-T-H.
That's wonderful.
Blythfestival.com.
Well, I'm looking forward now to actually exploring the theater.
Good.
So in the next clip, we'll come back and we'll look behind the scenes, and we'll look into the actual memorial hall here to see where it all happened.
Great.
Thank you so much, Eric.
Thank you.